right, what's going on, my friends, my fellow getting after it people? I don't know. I got to figure out a name to call you guys so I can have a better intro because I always struggle with these. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I'm pumped to talk about what we're going to discuss today. But on top of that, I want to address a couple things real quick. One, I'm laying down right now. I'm still marathon training and I'm really tired. And so I'm laying down, but hey, it's still going to be a quality podcast, I promise. Two, we're going to be talking about something today. We're going to be going into like personal routines and all those things. I'll share kind of how I found my own routine, how I got into my own sense of like whatever, my own cadence, and then remain consistent and go into that, tell that story a little bit. And then I'll probably just give you just a couple practical things that you could do that might just benefit you a little bit. Because that's the point of this podcast, is to do two things. One, to inspire you and to tell you that you can do more than you think you can. And two, give you practical tips to make your life easier. So, sound good? Let's jump in. Building a routine is kind of interesting because I think it changes all the time. And if you go on YouTube and you search like the best routine, you'll get all those videos. It's like, hey, this is what Warren Buffett does in his daily routine. Or, you know what? Try these tips from a Navy SEAL commander. That's Jocko. Shout out to Jocko. And you'll go and like, you'll try those things and you'll watch the video of Jocko explaining his routine, or like somehow, I don't know, they're talking about his routine, and you'll be like, okay, well, he wakes up at 4:30 and then works on personal things until 10 o'clock or whatever it is. Like, I'm going to do that. And then you'll try it for 2 days and then it sucks. So what I would say when you're like trying to think about things to add to your routine is because, let me back up a bit. Having a routine is very important. And the reason being is it keeps you disciplined and it keeps you consistent. And as I've mentioned many times, discipline is the key to my own success. Like I fully attribute it to discipline and hard work and consistency. It's all those three, and it's just the basics. And I think I mentioned this in the last podcast, but if you want to do really well, or you want to be an extraordinary, you have to do the ordinary things an extraordinary amount, and you have to be really good at them. You have to do the basics. That's kind of what I would say with this podcast is like, don't try and go and like try some billionaire's routine, his daily routine, her daily routine. This is going to be specific to you. And so I'm just going to share my own story of like how I found my routine, how I use it, and how I continue to work on it. Because I mentioned this in the beginning of the podcast. Never think that, there's a voice crack there. Never think that your routine can't be changed. And in my own opinion, it should be changed. I don't think that there's necessarily like you need to have a set in stone routine where you go through certain steps every single day. Like I wake up, go to the gym, go eat breakfast, go to work, do X, Y, and Z at work, go home, talk to my wife, hang out with the kids. Like it doesn't have to be like that or that black and white. I think it should be fluid, but there should be certain things that you do every single day that help you get better. Because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So let's time travel here. We're going to go back to Lazy Brett, which we'll start. I think I really started developing a routine around like 2017. And that's what I mean. Like it's 2023 now, and it's taken me 6 years to get to where I'm at now in terms of my routine. And 2017, I was all over the place. I was just starting college. I didn't really have a routine. I was like, hey, I'm just going to go do whatever I need to. I'd sign up for classes that were all over the place. Like what I mean is, hey, I'd have one at 6 p.m. I'd have another one at 8 a.m. Like all these other random things. So it's kind of difficult to, sorry, I keep having the hiccups. It was kind of difficult to start a routine because I didn't have one. And so I show up to college and I'm like, all right, I got this. I'm going to do so good. I got a job. This is when I used to work at that frozen dessert supply place doing sales and some of that kind of thing for like custom frozen yogurt cups. It was actually a good time. Anyways, I knew that basically my day was, I had classes like dispersed throughout the day. So nothing like, no good section of classes, if that makes sense. Like I didn't have a window where it was like, hey, my classes are all in the morning or they're in the afternoon. It's like, no, they're all over the place because I didn't know how to plan. And so I would go to work, go to class, go back to work, go back to class, and then study usually at the library, and then go home and just hang out. This is actually when I really started getting into fitness too, because my brother and I, we went to college at the same place, and I think we were both packing on some pounds, and we're like, you know what? Let's go be like Arnold. And we got on this huge kick, and we'd watch like every Dwayne the Rock Johnson movie, every Mark Wahlberg movie. We created things like Subway Saturday, which was the best. That might be the start of the routine. Subway Saturday, if I haven't mentioned this before, my brother and I, we'd go to Subway, get like the grossest sandwich in the entire world in terms of like, we'd just lather on all the extra goodies and make it insanely like calorically dense. So that was cool. And then after that, we'd go back to that frozen yogurt warehouse because we all worked in a warehouse, and there was a projector there. We'd watch a movie, but our requirements for the movie was it had to be either Mark Wahlberg or Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and it was the best if it was both. So Pain and Gain was like our favorite movie, but we'd go to this warehouse and watch one of these movies while we eat a Subway sandwich, and then we'd like play baseball inside the warehouse. Super random, and I don't know why I'm going on this tangent, but I'm just gonna keep going. And after we'd eat and watch the movie, hang out for a bit, we'd go to the gym, which was the worst idea in the world. And I think it's just because we wanted to feel better about ourselves. And so we'd go there, work out, and feel just disgusting at the end of it because we just ate a nasty Subway sandwich. I think towards the end of Subway Saturday, we'd go to the gym first and then finish with the Subway and movie. Anyways, it was great. And that was part of my routine in college. And I wish it was now. Actually, I wish I could do Subway Saturdays now. So maybe I'll start that again. Anyways, so in college, I had to start figuring out like, hey, where was my time best spent? Because I know I needed to study. I know I needed to get better so I could pass my classes. But then I also needed to make money. And so I was like, okay, well, I need to keep my job. I can't have all these random hours. And so I started figuring out like, okay, well, my brother and I were getting into the gym. Let's go in the morning. So every morning we would go to the gym. And I tried keeping some of my classes, like most of them, towards the afternoon. So I'd go right after that, go home, I'd eat, and then go straight to work for the entire day. And I think I'd get off at like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock and then go straight to class. Stay there until about 9 p.m., either in class or at the library. I studied a lot there. And that's one thing that I come to learn about myself is like, hey, I actually really like that time where I can just learn about things. And as you begin to develop your own routine and like figure out what works for you, you'll start to find out things that you like to do. And I think that's important. Like it's self-discovery, but it's also, hey, what am I strong at and where can I improve? And these are all things that help with routine. If I boil it down, I would say a routine helps you, one, remain consistent and focus on your long-term goals. And then two, I think it just builds your self-confidence because sorry, I ran a half marathon today and my voice always gets a little dry. But I think it builds your self-confidence because you're like, hey, every day I'm in the gym, or every day I know at this time I'm going to be studying, or I'll be at work. And so you feel a little bit more structured and a little bit more like you're in control. My routine after like I started developing or like realizing the importance of having a structure to your day, it changed pretty quickly. And so a lot of it changed based on like the schedule of my classes and all this stuff in college. But let's fast forward a little bit here, stop talking about college. And I think what I really just kept at the center of my routine is I wake up every single day and I go to the gym. And I try and keep it around the same time. I wake up at 4:30 and I'll get to the gym at like 5:15, 5:30. If I'm slow, 5:45. But as long as I know that I'm going to the gym in the morning, then that's fine. I don't necessarily, and this is what I mean by it can be fluid to some extent. Like I don't have a specific time where I'm like, I need to be at the gym at 5:30 or my entire day is ruined. It's like, no, just go to the gym and make it a priority. And so after that, I go home and I just get ready for the day. but I recognize the importance of challenging yourself first thing that you like. As soon as you wake up, if you put a challenge in front of yourself, like going to the gym, and you take that extra step, then it kind of sets you up to have a successful day because you're like, hey, I already conquered, my desire to stay in bed. Let me paint a picture for you. You wake up at 4:30. It's warm. Your bed is super soft and cozy. The pillow's just like hugging your head. Oh man, wait, hold on. Is there a fireplace going? Oh man, why do you want to get out of bed? Just stay there. But no, don't do that. That was just an internal thought there. Boom, get out of bed, and I promise you, you're gonna have a more successful day. And like that's the problem with like the snooze button. I think I'm trying to study a lot about like self-confidence and like where it comes from. But it really comes to like holding commitments true to yourself. So if you are struggling to wake up early and you're like, I'm going to wake up at 6 o'clock and go to the gym. Let's say you hit the snooze and you go at 6:30. You're going to wake up and be like, dang it, I couldn't get up at 6. You know what I mean? Like, and it'll probably change person to person, but it's important to conquer those small little battles. Like, should I hit the snooze button or should I just go? You should probably just go. Get up, put on your shoes, go hit the gym. Again, that's going to take time to develop. Like right now, if you would have taken me back to 2017 and said, "Hey, you're going to be in 6 years, you're going to be waking up at 4:30 every day, and it's going to be consistent. Like you're going to do it." I would have laughed in your face and said, "Not a chance. I'm comfortable going to the gym to like at 7 o'clock. Please leave me alone." But so like what I'm trying to say is just be patient as you like start to develop these things for yourself, because it's going to take time and it's going to be difficult to learn, but you can. And like I mentioned, I'm just a total contrast in terms of like a daily routine than I was 6 years ago. But it's because I've realized that it is important to just have certain things that you do every single day that remain with you. So my routine now is wake up, exercise, get ready for the day, go work. I like to hang out with my fiance. We like to, party it up afterwards after I'm done working. So I'll spend some time with her. I always try and journal every day, just like get my thoughts out on paper. I try and learn something every day, and that could be during the day, or that can be just like after work hours or whatever that is. But now it's like, okay, well, there's certain things I need to do every single day, and it doesn't have to be at the same time, but I know I need to learn. I know I need to spend time with my fiance. I know I need to be present at work, and I know I need to show up and exercise. And so like once you do all these things, it can be at different times of the day. It doesn't have to be like I said, set in stone. You can if that's helpful for you. But the point of having a routine is just to structure your day so you understand the things that you need to accomplish. One thing that I would say is really helpful in doing so is just spend 10 minutes the night before to think about the biggest things that you want to accomplish, and then get them done and make a plan to do so. Like we're going to talk a little bit about that later on, as like we talk about the tips and how to develop this routine for yourself. But having a plan of action and having a plan of attack, that's crucial. That's the only way that you're going to succeed in life or anything else. But let's boil it down, because if you're trying to develop a routine for yourself, then you need to do a couple things. One, this is the most important one, is I would say you need to be consistent. And I can't tell you how many times we've talked about consistency on this podcast, because I'm telling you, if you're consistent, it is a superpower. You will go beyond so many other people if you're just consistent. And I know that sounds bad. Like, I'm not saying other people are not working hard enough. I'm sure they're working hard. But if you're consistent with the small things that you do every day, I promise you it'll compound. Consistency compounds. But developing a routine and sticking to it is consistently, like, over time. That's essential for achieving your success. Like, when I think about it, all the people that I look up to and know, they all have something that they do every single day that, is beneficial to them. I talked to the CRO at the company that I work with, or work for. He's become like almost a mentor to me. And I asked him a couple questions about like things that he does every day, and he kind of said the same thing. He's like, I don't have a set time when I do certain things, but there are things that I need to do every day to be successful the next and then be successful that current day. So one that he said was planning before, the night before, and we'll talk more about that. But um, everyone that you look up to, I'm sure has a routine. Let's just take your, hopefully, hopefully you look up to your parents. Hopefully you had good parents. Some people don't, and that's okay. But if there's someone that you look up to, I guarantee that they have certain things that they have to do every day to be the best person that they can be. Um, and so that's what I would say is like, find things that you want to do and then just be consistent at it. And I heard this advice from somebody because they were struggling to start reading. They had a goal to start reading every single day. And they're like, you know what? They read online like, oh man, you have to read 10 pages a day if you want to be successful. And I think there's not a set stone thing to do there. So just throw that away. Anyways, my brain's all over the place. I apologize. But he had this idea in his head where if he wanted to be successful, he had to read 10 pages a day. Tried it, kept failing at it. Like he'd be consistent for a week, and then he wouldn't read for like a month. And he's like, it was the worst. Like I just wanted to develop the habit of reading. And so he's like, that's what I focused on. Like I just wanted to start reading more. And so instead of like going on social, he'd maybe read like an article or just try and find certain things to learn from. And I think that's important. Like he took it slow, and that's what's great about life is it is short, but it's a lot longer than I think most of us think. And so with that said, like you have time to develop these things and to get better at what you want to. It's just prioritize that. I'm going to talk about planning your night before because that to me is very important for a couple of reasons. One, you already understand what you want to accomplish the next day. And for me, going to bed with that knowledge kind of helps me be like, okay, well, I know what's on the next day. Don't have to worry about it. Let's go to sleep. And so like for me, I'm typically an anxious person, but having a plan for the next day kind of eases that anxiety a little bit. So if you're struggling with anxiety, I would say try that. Just try planning the night before. That way, like you're not thinking about what you want to do as you go to bed. It's already written down and you don't have to think about it. So try that. But another reason why I think it's important is like, it just gives you discipline. And having discipline is so important, especially nowadays, because there's tons of distractions around us. If you're focused and you discipline yourself to not think about those distractions or think about what's important to you, I guarantee you'll start seeing yourself grow in ways that you never thought before. I'm not saying like that's a self-help thing. I really hate self-help things. Like the other day, if you're on Reddit, you need to go find the Reddit thread. LinkedIn Lunatics is what I think it's called. That's the kind of self-help stuff I just can't stand. It's like someone says something, I don't know. Anyways, I'll let you be the judge of that. I don't want to go into it. But all I'm saying is like, these are the habits that help you develop success and like help you reach your goals. And so once you do that, once you plan your night before, one thing that you need to do, or that I would suggest that you do, is prioritize what are the most important tasks. Like what do you want to focus on the next day? Do them like first thing in the morning, I would say. Like if you have the time and the energy to do so, get them done as soon as you can. Because if you accomplish the hardest task in the first place, like imagine what you're going to feel like for the rest of the day. You're going to be so pumped. You're going to be really confident in yourself. And that's important. Like prioritize, execute, just get it done, and then you'll feel a lot better, I promise. And here's the important thing too, and I mentioned this now, is like make sure that your routine's fluid, but adjust it as you find it necessary to do so. It's important to be able to adjust your routine. You know, if something's not working for you, or if you wish to be better in some aspect, then you should adjust it. If you find that something's not working, be willing to change it and try something new. It's pretty simple. Actually, never mind. Easier said than done. But like when you think about all the athletes out there, like Olympic athletes, I guarantee you they have a very strict training routine that's helped them achieve their goals. or like a successful entrepreneur. Guarantee that that person follows a consistent daily routine that helps them increase their productivity. And, here's something you need to do is as you start to create a personalized routine for yourself, like if you're a parent, a very busy parent, and you want to create a routine that includes exercising, preparing breakfast for the kids, and spending quality time with your kids before work, then just figure out how to do that. Like work backwards. I love the phrase forward thinking and backwards planning. It's like, okay, well, I know I want to have a good routine in the morning where I'm working out, I'm hanging out with the kids, making them breakfast. What do I need to do to get there? And it's like, okay, well, maybe I wake up 30 minutes earlier so I can go on a little walk, or have extra time to prep pancakes for the kiddos. That's important. I think forwards thinking and backwards planning helps with developing a routine, because then you figure out what you want to accomplish in your day, and then you just go and execute. And my mom is actually a great example of this. Like, she's one of the busiest people I've ever met in my entire life. She runs a blanket business where she sews custom, like handmade blankets every single day. She somehow makes time for it. But it's a whole process. She has to wash the fabric, she has to pin it all together, and then actually sew it, take pictures, upload them to her website. Yeah, so I really look up to my mom. She's someone who just never stops. She's always getting after it. And so on top of that, she's working out. She goes and does all these things that she wants to accomplish, but she's got just things that she needs to do every single day, and she gets them done. And that's what I'm trying to say is she's figured out a way to do so with her busy life. And you'll do the same thing. But as someone who's super busy, she somehow makes a routine that works for her. And so if you don't think that you can, I think that's probably a lie that you're telling yourself, and you probably can. It's just figure out what you want to do and be that person. But another thing to remember is you need to be good with time management. I heard something, one of my friends, he's a freelancer, and he keeps getting all these different tasks and these deadlines, and some clients pay him more than others. And he's like, okay, well, he told me I need to spend more time focusing on the higher paying clients, and then take the rest of the time that I have to focus on the lower tiers, but still give quality effort. And that's his whole goal. Is he's like, well, I just need to make sure that my clients are taken care of. And so no matter what, I'll do it. But those are just a couple examples of things that you could do to help with your own routine. I don't know what your job is or what you do, but just try certain things. And another thing that I heard that was kind of funny from someone else is they have a goal to put on more sunscreen and have that be part of their routine. They don't want to get wrinkles. They want to, protect themselves against skin cancer and all those things. And so he's like, I'm terrible at it. I can't have a time where I wake up and put on sunscreen. I always forget. And he's like, I never want to carry it around. So he just puts them at his desk. He puts sunscreen at his desk to remind him whenever he goes. He has a couple desks, one at work, one at home. Anytime he goes and sits down, he's like, okay, I'm going to put on some sunscreen. And I don't know if he goes outside when he does, but at least he put on sunscreen. It's part of his routine. He did it. So that's another thing too. I actually heard James Clear talk a little bit about developing habits. And I guess you could say if you want to develop the habit of having a routine, you could say that. That's a good goal. And so one thing that he shared is just manipulate your environment so you can have it be an easier habit to develop. And what I mean by that is say you want to have a goal of losing weight. Well, don't buy junk food. Manipulate your environment so it makes reaching your goals easier. Or let's say another example is, hey, I want to wake up earlier. Then do the same thing. What can I do to help myself wake up earlier? I just this week bought an alarm clock that makes it a sunrise in your room. It's beautiful, but it really helps me wake up. It's a lot easier to wake up when there's light in the room than when it's pitch black and you're comfortable. So manipulate your environment so you get these cues to develop the habits. If you want to study more, sorry about that. If you want to study more, then put up random things to remind you to study. Put more books out. I don't know. What's going to get you to be motivated to study and to work hard. And so just try that. But that's what's important about a routine is, you're going to have to try stuff and you're going to fail at sometimes, but don't get discouraged. Just be consistent and make a plan, and I promise you, you'll be good. I still have a lot that I need to work on in terms of my own routine. Like, I need to find more time to work on the podcast. I need to work on developing myself better. I want to spend more time with my fiance, like, and go do fun stuff. But I need to work that into my routine. So it's going to adapt. It's going to change as I go throughout life, and I'm totally cool with that. I think it just shows growth and it shows progress. Like, don't be afraid to change things. So that's just a couple tips that I think could be practical and could allow you to maybe just prep your own routine and get a little bit better at sticking to it. If you ever, want to just chat about like, hey, maybe Brett can help me out, send me a DM. We can set up a time to talk about helping with the routine or whatever. Or like, hey, I'm struggling with actually starting one. What was some advice? I'm happy to chat. But yeah, so just the biggest thing I want to say here is just figure out what you want to do and then start being consistent with it and work towards small goals. Don't just automatically assume you're going to come out the gate real strong, because you're probably not. And be patient. Like, it's going to take time. So just be patient and you'll be fine. And yeah, that's it for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. If you find this ever helpful, please share it with someone or leave a review or anything like that. It all goes a long way. And I'll keep bringing this on. I'm pretty excited. In a couple weeks, we're going to have someone from Jocko's team actually come onto the podcast and talk about just a couple things. His name is Danny. I'll save it actually, but pretty excited about that. So stay tuned for those. And if you ever want to be on, send me a DM. I'm serious. Like, I love chatting about everyone. And if you don't think you have a story, you do. And I want to talk about it. So appreciate you guys listening, and keep getting after it.